Good afternoon and happy Mardi Gras. In thinking of Mardi Gras, I grew up in New Orleans and Mardi Gras was a really big thing. We went to parades, we ate king cake. It was a really good time, but I always kind of had trouble in my head figuring out what does Mardi Gras have to do with Lent? Because other than an excuse to have a big party, drink and eat a lot right before you have to give up something for Lent, it didn't really seem to make any sense to me. Well, last Sunday, when preaching on the Transfiguration, something occurred to me. Mardi Gras may be the same natural instinct that Peter had up on the mountain of Transfiguration. He knows Jesus has been talking about his death coming. He knows he doesn't want it. He's been called Satan by Jesus himself because he will not listen that Jesus has to go and die. So they go up on the mountain and Jesus is transfigured and glowing and it's great and it's a party and Peter doesn't want it to end. Here's what it says in Matthew 17, starting at verse 4. Then Peter said to Jesus, "Lord, it's good for us to be here. If you wish, I will set up 3 tents here, one for you and one for Moses and one for Elijah." And while he was still speaking, suddenly a bright cloud overshadowed them, and a voice from the cloud said, "This is my son, the beloved. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him." When the disciples heard this, they fell on the ground and were overcome by fear. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, "Get up and do not be afraid." And when they raised their eyes, they saw no one except Jesus himself alone. So when preaching on that and studying on that, it occurred to me, Mardi Gras may be our last chance to try and hold on to the happy, to try and hold on to the alleluias, because we know they're about to be gone for 40 days. We know we're going to have to remember all the horrible things that happened to Jesus, all the torture and the pain and the being accused of things he didn't do, and then finally being nailed to a cross and dying. Maybe we're a little like Peter. Maybe we would rather rouler le bon temps. Maybe we'd rather let the good times roll. Because I don't really like to think about Jesus, whom I dearly love, suffering. I would rather put on beads and dress up or wear costumes and go to parades. Well, a parade is coming on Palm Sunday. And yes, we may want to grab onto the good times, and that's a good thing. Hold on to the good time you have today, because it'll help you get through the week. It'll help you get through the month. It'll help you get through all of the horrible things that Jesus had to go through. But don't worry, Easter is a much bigger party, and we will all rejoice knowing that he is risen when the Alleluias come back on Easter Sunday morning. Have a blessed week.